Oh, it's time. Time to get radical.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to Radical Comment of the Week for June the 9th through June the 15th. These are the very best comments from that time period. Starting out with the almost honorable mentions, we have Remember the Great Sports, Rasta Populus, and R.C.O.T.W. The first honorable mention comes to us from Boston Rock Spot. New retro wave / synth wave is my favorite thing in music right now. Gunship are the undisputed kings of the scene. When you grow up, your heart dies. I love everything about them. They did a video for their song Revel in Your Time in the style of point-and-click games from the Sierra days. From then on, I was hooked. The Midnight, FM84, Midnight Danger, Scandroid, and Crozet are some of my top picks from the synthwave scene. There really was nothing quite like the music of the 80s. I was mesmerized by all the sounds from all the songs I heard on the radio. The Cars are my number one band of all time, not just because they hail from my backyard, but because they were one of the bands from the late 70s that ushered in a new wave sound along with Devo, Kraftwerk, Two Way Army, early Duran Duran, and early Depeche Mode. All those new wavers from the 80s, A Flock of Seagulls, Missing Persons, Tears for Fears, Berlin, Thompson Twins, Human League, all drew influence from those bands, especially Kraftwerk. 80s Music Man, to be a kid during that time was amazing. The birth of Nintendo, the crash of Atari, the cartoons, wrestling, just everything was awesome. Thank you, Boston Rock Spot. Next honorable mention goes to Wolfpack 1. It's never acceptable to take donations just because people want to give you things. When I used to play minor league baseball in Mexico, I had more than a few hardcore fans from the area we represented. They would always try to give me money and or food because I was either there or their kid's favorite player. They knew we didn't make much money, and many players would leave the league for that very reason. Even though I was still very young, I knew morally that I shouldn't take those handouts. I learned something though. I learned the ones that wanted to donate to me were worse off financially than I was. It's always the poor people that want to help without thinking twice. It's the poor people that want to assist others and share what they have. I was never offered money from someone that was rich. I go donate time and money at the local food bank, and the ones there working and donating for free besides me are the poor people, not the rich. They are the ones that make the effort to share because they know what it's like to be poor. So when someone takes donations, they are adults and know many of the donators coming to them to donate are in a worse financial situation than they are, but they try to help anyways. Yet they still have no shame. It's pathetic. The tipping point is going to come where people are going to realize how pathetic these e-beggars are. Don't stop, Rick. More and more people are opening their eyes when it comes to these entitled man babies. Thank you, Wolfpack 1. And the last honorable mention comes to us from James Cornwell. And here James is talking about the Last of Us 2 leak video back in June. Skimmed through the video, and it just got taken down, full of plot holes and characters, decision problems, gratuitous fluff, and then the obvious fact of what this game is and the leaks all being obviously real. With Skill Up skirting story and characters under the threat of a gun, and even leftist reviewers and sites like GameSpot, Polygon, and Kotaku all calling issue to the brutality porn for the 25 to 30 hour nature of the game. I'm a fan of the first one. Even if they scrubbed all the overtly forced identity politics from their game, it would still be problematic beyond near PS5 presentation and mediocre gameplay rooted in 2013. I'll play this, but not for the retail price or release. That way I don't have to finish it. They really missed the mark, and the 96 Metacritic rating is just bullshit predicated on money, presentation, value, access, journalism. I'm 30th on the queue to play it for free on my library here in Canada. For free, and knowing the story's a mess, I can only be risking my time and have the ability to cut that short if needed. A nice option for countries that have libraries that lend games and movies. I'm about to get Fallen Order this way and have the option for some others to try before I buy. Tony Hawk 1 to 2 is on my list for this exact reason. Ghost looks to be a better game. They have their heads up their asses, sniffing their own farts, trying to make everyone feel like a serial killer in this one, all while trying to virtue signal off the back of killing the main reason people like the first part. make you play as this murderer, and then whatever else is here is a big L. Sony only cares about the money, which they will bank, no doubt. The suppression and misrepresentation to trick core gamers into buying can fuck right off, as they are eroding trust in their core fans. A week early reviews, but you can't talk about this in only favorable outlets receiving codes. That stuff can die in a trash fire. Just make a good game with good gameplay. Jesus fuck. Thank you, James Cornwell. Now, getting into the medal ceremony, the bronze medal going to come to us from Rusty Shackelford. I think the whole thing was fabricated, talking about the situation with Woods and Nintendo. I listened to Woods' video, and what stuck out to me was how he mentioned he was near 1 million subscribers. What better way to propel yourself and further boost the subscriber count than to talk about something controversial that will get everyone talking? It wasn't long for other people to talk about their experience with the Ambassador program. Whether Woods was legitimately removed from the program for the mod video is up for debate, which is probably the reason, but he knew exactly what he was doing. Like many YouTubers, Wood is obsessed with the subscriber count, and I'm sure he is willing to do whatever it takes to get to that 1 million. The video also showed how egotistical Woods can be, and it really made me sick. To hear him say that you can't think about the Switch and not think about him was unfucking believable, and goes to show the entitlement many of these YouTubers have today. Nintendo has been around for hundreds of years and made themselves a household name, yet people like Woods believe they made Nintendo. Where were all these people when the Wii U was out? Nowhere to be found. But of course, they love to talk about the Switch because it's a massive success selling millions. So really they're just riding on the success of the Switch while also bashing the Wii U. Honestly, these YouTubers need to be grateful to Nintendo, because without Nintendo, these YouTubers would be dead channels. They should be lucky that Nintendo even gives them a game code or just one game. That's definitely one more than what people like myself got who actually bought their games. And to answer your question, if Nintendo sends you a game code and you still insist on buying a physical copy, Nintendo still did you a favor in providing a free copy of the game. Choosing to buy a physical copy is on you and doesn't detract from Nintendo's offering. Well, a lot to speak on here. It really amazes me when you have a worthless motherfucker like Wood Hawker and his fanboys. We just talked about fanboys and fangirls defend him over this Nintendo shit. Because this guy went out of line as an ambassador. He knew what the fuck he was doing. One might argue, maybe, just maybe, he made a calculation when he uploaded that mod video. He knew what Nintendo was going to do. So then, he does what he does better than anyone else on this platform. He pulled that motherfucking victim card. Played that victim card. But hopefully some of his fans actually saw through the shit and called him out saying, you know what? You uploaded the mod video. You dumb motherfucker, you uploaded the mod video. Not this time, Wood, not this time. Of all the times he plays the victim while actually still, and I can't repeat this shit enough, taking games from children, taking donations from children, regardless of who does that shit. I will call that out regardless. It doesn't matter who it is. It's the thing they do. All right? You know, if Wood apologized, for instance, and made it to where no one could send anything to his P.O. box, made it to where he was not promoting people sending him gifts. So many things about this motherfucker is fake. I don't want to go on a long rant. I'll just stick to this comment right here. The one where he said, it's impossible to think about the Nintendo Switch without thinking about him. That's a comment, I can't believe he said some shit like that. Like, I can't believe, how unself-aware can you be to think that you are anything of importance to Nintendo? I have to think it has to be an act. The whole, they broke up with me. It has to be a fucking act. I can't for the life of me think anyone can be this fucking pathetic. But then again, he's an individual, like I said, taking donations from children, so anything's fucking possible. Silver's going to go to Art Bell. The quartering would get my vote for rich, entitled, aggressive neckbeard e-beggars. Ian, the crankiest whiner. This is the hairist against the beard list. Sticks. Speaking of hair challenged, on the newest Happy Homeland show, Sticks says it's okay to take money from morons, like the ones who bought a hot YouTuber's bathwater. $100,000 after taxes, brilliant stunt, can't slam anything that successful. He admires the ability to part fools from their money. Ironic, right? Sticks might be the most subtle e-beggar out there, ads off, no join, rarely mentions his tip jars. When he does grift, he covers it up. He deleted his e-beg video for a replacement laptop. He dropped it and said, if you want videos, I need your money to fix my mistake. I recall Boogie2988 saying he only mentioned his Patreon one time a year until his channel declined. Fewer sponsors. Then the join and cool emojis line was trotted out from John Hancock. Sticks got 4 times what he was asking for, so it's like a rock band touring once every 2 years versus never-ending runs. People take interest. Sticks has stopped wearing no t-shirt under the Fawn's jacket. His hairy chest was probably putting off new viewers, slowing his channel. The most disturbing thing I found about this is Sticks with a hairy chest not wearing a shirt under the jacket. Like, I don't know more of a homeless look there is than wearing a leather jacket with no shirt underneath. Especially if you have a hairy fucking chest, right? You talked about e-beggars, quartering being aggressive e-beggar. Yes, quartering is quite the aggressive e-beggar. There was a video, and I guess it can't be found. No one re-uploaded it, I guess. I'm trying to recall that video. Art, if you come by, you can tell us in detail about that video. I remember it. It might have been you that shared it with me years ago. It's been a while back, I think. Well, he dropped his laptop. Sticks, big professional, big time YouTuber, right? Okay. Dropped his laptop. Fuck, I wish I could remember a lot more about that video. But the gist of it was, he dropped his laptop, and, he wanted people to give him money. The thinking being, hey, you know what? You guys want uploads, so you got to pay me, right? You got to pay me. Chances are, this motherfucker probably just wanted a new laptop. He could have even maybe broke that laptop on purpose, with the idea being, hey, you know what? If I get people to be sympathetic to my cause, and they actually feel and believe that I won't upload anymore, they will give me money for a new laptop. You see this all the time. The whole lie, one of the big Patreon lies, which is, you know what? If you want me to continue making this great content, I'm going to probably need some more donations. And about the bathwater, link me to a video where he actually defends it. Is that a video where he actually fucking defends that bitch that charged people for her bathwater? Really? A defense of this? Is that the new thing, right? The idea that, hey, you know what? If people are stupid enough, then no, don't fucking do it. All right? Hold that bitch accountable. Hold any bitch accountable, male or female. And don't get on me because I'm sexist because I call a woman a bitch that bottles her fucking bathwater. It's probably just tap water. No. The same stupid motherfuckers that donate money to that bitch is donating money to Sticks. That bitch, right? The same motherfuckers that donate. All right? Does that make sense? Okay. Moving on to the gold medal. I probably could have finished that. I could have nailed it a little better, but nah, fuck it, I'll move on, It bothers me sometimes when I don't get a response really great, Oh, Lord. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since I had a 2-page comment. Fuck, Come on, Rusty, you're killing me here. You're killing me, man, but you easily earned this gold. Rusty Shackelford says, and he's talking about the Last of Us leak and all that stuff back in June. This is before the game was released. Rusty says, there is no denying that most, if not all, journalists are biased in their reviews. However, the average person is also just as biased. People are just so caught up with their expectations to the point they live in a delusional world where everything has to go their way. I'm sure most, if not all, journalists are praising the game because it has the title The Last of Us slapped on the box, but I'm sure every average person hating the game hates it because, spoiler alert, all right, this is a spoiler coming from Rusty Shackelford, all right, people are going to hate you for this. Joel is brutally killed with a golf club. Spoiler free. Ellie has a romantic relationship, etc. Without having actually played the game, it's unbelievable how people are overreacting from both sides. All I have to say is shut the fuck up, play the game for yourself. This is meant in a general terms, not specific to anyone. If you don't like it, that's your opinion. If you do like it, that's your opinion as well. I love it that people are critical of Metacritic being broken because of the reviews from journalists. The problem is, user reviews are just as unreliable. Anyone can upload a review on Metacritic without having bought or played the game. Hell, you can just give it a rating without any reasoning behind it. I only use reviews to see if the gameplay interests me or not. I never focus or care about what the journalists are saying. Truth be told, the average people are far more toxic when being critical to games. God forbid if a journalist decided to criticize Breath of the Wild, which one did, talking about Jim Sterling, right? And immediately got backlash from the community. No, Breath of the Wild was not a perfect game or masterpiece. While the world was amazing, everything else was mediocre at best and paled in comparison to previous installments. The irony of it all is that people are hating The Last of Us 2 for its story based on the leaks, which suddenly makes the game completely terrible, but forgot that Breath of the Wild had the weakest story in any Zelda game in recent memory, but that game got a pass because the world was amazing. Hypocrites. I tell you what. Hypocrites. I tell you what. I love Breath of the Wild, but I have to call out its flaws, which were plenty for a Zelda title. Also, the average people made excuses for just about everything. If someone praises a game, they were paid. If someone hates a game, they're just a troll and don't know what they're talking about. For fuck's sake, there can never be a middle ground or just average people. Honestly, I didn't hear about The Last of Us until a friend posted a status on Facebook praising the game. Out of curiosity, you're talking about the first Last of Us. Out of curiosity, I did look up gameplay footage to what the game was about. Initially, I didn't care for this because it was another post-apocalyptic game, which was something that has been oversaturated for years now, so I decided to pass on it. But I heard more of my friends talk about it, and every gaming website I visited had articles and videos all over the place, and referring to it as Game of the Year, Naughty Dog's finest, etc. I finally caved in and decided to buy the game. Mind you, this was sometime after it had launched on the PS3 back in 2013. When I started playing, nevermore was I captivated or interested in characters during the opening moments of a game, specifically Joel's daughter Sarah, and it was heartbreaking when she died. I became invested in the game, wanting to know how Joel copes with the death of Sarah, and I was not disappointed. It was clear that the relationship Joel developed with Ellie was simulating the relationship he had with his own daughter, and while Joel tried to deny it, Ellie knew to some capacity that's what he thought of her, a daughter. I was really moved by the relationship of Joel and Ellie, but realized there was a world beyond these two in The Last of Us. Tessa, Bill, Tommy, Henry, Sam were all amazing and brought the world of The Last of Us to life. You also had the multiplayer component. Yes, there was an online multiplayer for The Last of Us, which had its own minor yet unique story and was slightly interesting but forgettable. However, the multiplayer further proved that there was more to the world of The Last of Us than Joel and Ellie, which is why I accept the decision Naughty Dog made, spoiler alert, to kill off Joel and play as Abby during the second half, spoiler free, because the world of The Last of Us isn't just about Joel and Ellie. Anyway, I love The Last of Us not because of my friends or the praise journalists gave the game, but because of my own personal experience with the game itself. This was the game I simply overlooked because I thought it was just another post-apocalyptic zombie game like what we already had in a genre at the time, and it could have been that, and I could call my friends and journalists crazy, but it was not. It's this experience that I'm willing to give The Last of Us 2 a chance, because the only way for sure to know if I'll like the game or not is to actually play it for myself. If I like it or not, I'll drop my 2 cents, but that shouldn't persuade you to like it or not yourself. Plus, if I don't like it, at least I have Xenoblade Chronicles, which is definitely amazing so far, and Ghost of Tsushima next month. Anyway, play it for yourself. That's what everyone needs to do. It's not always about the results, it's about the journey, and that's what made the original game a success after all. If you just read that Joel takes a girl in and has to deliver her to the Fireflies, but decides to keep her and move to his brother's settlement, that sounds boring and generic as hell. But if you actually played the game and witnessed their journey and experiences, you'll actually enjoy it, or not, more than just reading it. So like I said before, and I'll say it again, shut the fuck up, again speaking generally not to anyone specific, and play the game for yourself. If you like it, that's your opinion. If you don't like it, that's your opinion as well. But you can't pass judgment on something that you have not played or tried. Well, Rusty, that's quite an argument you have. The argument that you don't know if you like something unless you've tried it or not. It's a very powerful argument. You know, I got to remember that the next steady girlfriend I have, right now I'm kind of, I'm just kind of out talking to people, playing that field, Nothing wrong with that. But if I land myself into a new steady relationship, I'm going to remember that argument and use it in this respect. What you think about that girl over there? She's not as pretty as you, but she's kind of cute, right? Well, you've never, how would you know? You never tried. I'm just saying be open-minded. She's into guys and girls. Just be open-minded. Yeah. See what I'm doing here, Rusty? See, she knows she's not going to be down with that. Sometimes you just know. And when I read the leaks, when I saw the leaks, when I saw what this game was going to be about, when I saw what the story was going to be about, putting aside the brilliant graphics, some of the best graphics to ever grace the PlayStation 4, definitely I would say, putting aside other interesting aspects of the game, I knew that I would not like that game because I'm a big fan of the first game. I would not be into that game. I would have the same response as many YouTubers you saw when they get to that moment where Joel is fucking done dirty. Joel is fucking done dirty in this game. That's more than enough. More than enough reason for me to say, you know what? That's not for me. I'm not dealing with that shit. Okay? That is a betrayal of that character. And I'm not dealing with it. And the fact that you then have to go and play, it's a twist. You have to fucking play as the person that did that person wrong. The writing, so many other things about that game. And granted, Rusty, you bought it, you played through it. Your opinion carries much more weight than mine does, because you experienced the game as a whole, right? But again, going back to that, if I'm dating a girl and she chooses to never lick Kitty, you can make an argument she doesn't know what a good kitty tastes like. Just like bubblegum. The best, I don't know, to me, just like bubblegum, right? She doesn't know what a good kitty tastes like unless she's double jointed. But she knows enough to know that she wouldn't be interested in doing that kind of stuff. I'll use another example. So many people reviewed, and I'm not drawing any comparisons, okay? Don't get it twisted. I'm not drawing any comparisons between The Last of Us 2 and Cuties. But we do have a situation where there's a lot of people that are giving this game, The Last of Us 2, perfect scores, 10 out of 10, saying nothing bad about the story. And obviously the story has many issues. The movie Cuties, sitting in a Metacritic, not a Metacritic, well, I don't know if they have Metacritic, that's just games, right? Rotten Tomatoes sitting at 90-some%. Okay? And you know what the issues are with the movie Cuties. I haven't watched the movie Cuties. I'm not gonna fucking watch that kind of trash. I know enough to know that that kind of movie is not going to interest me. And again, I'm not drawing any big comparisons between the two, but I'm just using it as a point to frame that sometimes you just know you're not gonna like something. Okay, we're not talking about food here. We're not talking about different kinds of food that might be really tasty. Okay, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about sometimes deep down, you just know. You just know that you're not going to enjoy something. And the response to Last of Us 2, and looking back on it, maybe there were a lot of people over-exaggerating. Giving the game a 1 or 2 out of 10. Okay, it's not a 1 out of 10. It's not a 2 out of 10. It's not. All right, it is not. I know that. I mean, there's no way a Naughty Dog game deserves a 1 out of 10. There's not, okay? Putting aside how bad they did that character Joel, putting aside that they turned everything that was great seemingly about the story in the first game. And I've read the story all the way through. I've seen the gameplay. They turned everything about that story in the first game and just turned it to shit and made it a revenge story, but not even a satisfying revenge story.